Please support the only independent outlet going across the United Corporations of America on the ground, covering what the corporate media covers up.
Obviously, the election's a couple weeks away. Most of the national media, when they talk about Michigan, they're focused on the Arab American vote.
Black male vote.
Black male vote. I don't really hear anything about this, but not that you speak for black men, but...
Well, a lot of black males I talked to get in my cab is voting for Trump.
And what's their reasons they give you?
He's a felon, and he released a lot of people, and his name was on the check that they got. Real simplistic. You can't argue with them. You can't change their thought pattern. That name was on the check, and he's a felon, and he released felons.
So the fact that Trump's been convicted, they see...
They like that.
Huh. Interesting. And does the fact, because somebody told me that the fact that he basically let the former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, he commuted his sentence. I know a lot of people here feel that Mayor Kilpatrick was railroaded and treated unfairly.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way.
So they like that Trump commuted his sentence.
Correct.
And the check you're talking about is the stimulus check.
And he didn't write that check. The Congress, the Senate and the House had to vote for it, but his name, that was the first time. The man is creative, and he somehow got his name on the check.
So people see it, that they think it's basically Trump is the reason for that. Interesting. And do you feel like a lot of black men in the city also are pretty frustrated with the Democrats too?
They are. They are. Yeah. They are. Young black men. Older ones, not so much, but younger ones, yes.
So do you think if Trump wins Michigan, that could be a big part of the reason, the black male vote?
Black male, and some people may be sitting at home and don't want to vote at all. You know what? And for me, I'm doing it voting. So I used to give out free rides, put a lot of posts on my social media, do a lot of, this year I'm not motivated to vote, but I am informed. I was homeschooled. My mother did a lot of African American history. She was a registered nurse for 35 years. She's in a nursing home now, but I digress. Our ancestors as black people died for the right to vote. So even if I vote for everything other than president, I'm going to vote. I'm going to check that box off, and I'm going to vote. And they're not talking about gouging enough. Price gouging, price gouging, price gouging. And they like to call it inflation. I call it price gouging. Because if the company's making record-breaking profits, that's not inflation. That's price gouging.
It's called greed.
It is.
Yeah. And you know, what's interesting, I don't know if you heard, but former President Obama the other day kind of gave a little bit of a lecture to black men. He was in Pittsburgh and he gave a message to black male voters.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear.
I guess to him, he feels some of them are moving to Trump more so because they're not comfortable with a woman president. Are you getting that feeling from the people you speak with? Okay.
They like it, that Trump's name was on the check, and he's friendly to felons. And what else they like? They released Kwame Kilpatrick and rappers, and then he says whatever's on his mind, and you can understand what he says and not using political speak.
So they feel Harris is kind of just
the average
given political speak?
Just the average politician.
Understand. And also, I think I was just talking to some folks over at the church. I think even people who have been longtime Democratic Party voters and who knocked on doors for Democrats, the two ladies I was talking to, they're just dejected. They're just frustrated because they've been doing the groundwork, knocking on the doors, making calls for Democrats locally for years and for president, and they don't see a lot of things changing.
So are you feeling for yourself that you would consider Trump, or?
I would consider. And if you have the choice of the lesser evil, to me, evil is evil.
Maybe I think that's part of it.
That
too.
is part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And some people just look and observe, and they don't care what you say. They're looking at what they've seen, and that's it. Once they've seen something, you can't talk them out of it. You can't pray them out of it. You can't love them out of it. You can't. They stuck. That's how they feel.
And it seems to me it's less of the people that might not vote for her. It's not necessarily that they love Trump, but the Democrats have not done enough locally, state level, and federally.
Correct.
And back on the transportation issue, to me, if you're somebody who lives paycheck to paycheck and you don't have enough money to buy a car, these interest rates for cars are through the roof. You're kind of screwed, because if you lose your job or you're routinely late to your job, a lot of people have more than one job.
Yes, to make it.
This could cause people to be homeless.
Facts. I was homeless for 8 or 9 years. So if people want to look me up in Detroit, they can always Google Meet the Other People Mover, Michael Cunningham, Brother Cunningham, or put in WDIV, Michael Cunningham, and you'll see some things, pretty my life story, what I do in the community, my passion.
And tell people what the number is.
So this is my hotline number. If you want to reach out, would you like to ride the buses with me, and I'll show you around to give you a tour of the hood and the bus system. If you like to donate a CashApp or whatever, I'll pick it up. You can mail it to me. If you just like to contact me, 313-444-9114. That number was made so you can remember it. It's real easy. 313-444-9114. You can contact me.
Yeah, we'll put that up. And my last question for you: how do you kind of keep at it? I mean,
After
a
over a
lot of
decade,
people would be really just run out of energy.
The Holy Spirit, I've been doing better in life, staying away from the church, staying away from church people, and life has really gotten better. Place, house, vehicle. Life has gotten a lot better since I made that policy change. But I believe in God because I talk to him every day. And I believe in the Holy Spirit because I flow with them every day. It's real. It's real. And that's the only thing that's brought me up is the higher power.
And one more question. You hear a lot about from the media that democracy is on the line in this election. And I go around and I don't know. I think a lot of people feel democracy is not really working for them.
They're not getting nothing out of the game. They're not getting nothing out of the pie. They're not getting nothing for their efforts. What are they getting? And folks are really starting to feel that way. And like I said, you can talk to them, you can preach to them, you can pray with them. But once they've experienced some things and seen some things, unless you do something, they're going to stop voting your way.
Yeah. I feel like Detroit and a lot of other states and cities, it's kind of become a tale of two cities across the country. Wealthier, mostly white people who could afford these downtown skyscrapers, and then the people who were born here and raised here kind of being pushed to the sides of the city.
Wayside, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time, and I'm glad we could cover this.
I love you. I hope that you vote this year. If you black, we survivors. We're going to make it anywhere it go. And you're all my people, but I know black people in particular, we are some true survivors.